Today, my guest is former WWE developmental talent. He's an FCW Grand Slam champion, a second generation star. You know his father, the WWE Hall of Famer, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Mr. Richie Steamboat. Richie, how are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome. How are you today?
I'm very good. I'm excited to be able to sit down and talk to you. I've been trying to find a way to get a hold of you for a while now.
Yeah, that's kind of been the case. Laying low for a little bit. I got a lot going on, so I'm glad to be here.
Good, good. So, growing up, did you do sports as a child before professional wrestling?
Yep. I started amateur wrestling at the age of 5, um, and did that for probably till I was about 14 years old, and was pretty successful at that. I had several. I think I had 5 state championships for North Carolina. I also won the nationals once. I was on a junior. I was asked to be on a junior Olympic wrestling team, but conflict issues with dad's scheduling and wrestling took precedent. So, and I understood that at the time, and and it was cool also to go backstage and see those heroes of mine growing up, and yeah, so wrestled basically all the way up through high school. Started playing some football and did pretty well at that. I was a strong side linebacker on D. I was a headhunter, baby. That's kind of goes with the territory. When you're raised by Ricky Steamboat, you don't really take second place very often. That was kind of my mentality, and that's kind of my work ethic is just 110% and just outwork everybody else. I saw a special recently. Tom Brady came out and said, he says you don't have to be the best athlete. You don't
Mhm.
have to be creative. You just got to outwork everybody. And that's kind of a motto that I live by as well. I think it's really important to keep that mindset and to keep that drive. Doesn't matter how many times you fall down, just keep picking yourself up. So, I think that's a good message for people to hear, and that I think it can resonate with a lot of people. So, yeah, growing up, wrestled a lot as a kid. Obviously, um, I had a big target on my back every tournament I went to,
Mhm.
and comments, I'd hear say, "Hey, that's Steamboat's kid. You're gonna kick his butt tonight," and I'd just go out there and just mop the floor with him. It was a technical, and it really wasn't fair because I had Ricky Steamboat as a coach. You know what I mean? Like I knew every move possible, and it really it got to the point to where I will brag on this because I was very proud of it. People would just they would kind of we'd go to finals and we'd shake hands and they would step aside. They wouldn't
Mhm.
even compete in the match. I mean, it's pretty intense. I mean, I don't think there's very many times that you could say that that's happened, and that wasn't all the time, but there was several events where I actually wrestled a female in the finals and the nationals. Lots of really unique stories. I'm actually writing a book right now. It's going to be coming out in March. It's growing up wrestling, and it's an autobiography. So there's going to be a lot of those backstage stories and a lot of that content. A lot of stories as a kid growing up, and then transitioning into as a professional wrestler, going through that FCW NXT developmental phase, and then onward, and then pass through that. But growing up, I had a wonderful childhood. Um, I appreciate everything that my dad was able to do for his family. He wasn't around as much as we would have liked, right?
Mhm.
But you know, those guys were doing 200 cities a year. Sometimes two a days. They were out busting their tail, and honestly, they don't make them like that anymore.
Mhm.
So they, I show a lot of respect and appreciation uh, to him and that, and it's a wonderful thing. This sport it brings families together, and it also makes it difficult. There's a double-edged sword on that. So.
Growing up in the environment that you did you have a feeling that professional wrestling was something you were eventually going to try to do?
Growing up as a kid, I looked at all these guys as I referred to this earlier as giant.
Hmm.
You know, they were like my superheroes. They were I didn't read comic books. I didn't watch cartoons. These were the giants in my life, and I really just thought so much of all of these guys and the stories that they were able to tell, and it's just been it was an amazing experience, and I'll leave it at that. So,
At what age did you decide that professional wrestling was something you were going to pursue?
um, I'll tell you, in high school I was really good at football. I had
Hmm.
some scholarships, played some D1 schools, and some D2 schools. My heart was in other places. Um, Wrestling was always something that I had always wanted to aspire to be like my father. I
Hmm.
think a lot of sons and daughters aspire to be like their their whoever they hold on that pedestal. They aspire to those accomplishments and that lifestyle and that perseverance and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I definitely I was in a YMCA and I had just graduated. I graduated 6 months early from high school because I was preparing to go to play football. And I was in a YMCA with my dad, and we're sitting on the bench. We're doing bench press, and we're just talking. And I've led around to it a few times before. And just a little backstory. And he's like, yeah, well, go play ball. I want to see you on TV playing college ball. Blah blah blah. And and I respected that. And I said, I was sitting there on the bench. I said, Dad, I really would like to get in the ring and just see what it's like in the professional
Hmm.
realm, in that squared circle. A little different than an amateur wrestling mat for sure. Uh, a lot less forgiving. uh, but and so he said, all right. I said, you've asked enough. So he took me down to a place in Charlotte called High Spots. They used to do a training program. They still operate there. It's a wonderful place. They got tons of wrestling memorabilia and all sorts of cool items that they make, wrestling knee pads and turnbuckles and all sorts of cool stuff. But he said, let's go down there and see what you can do. So he took me down there and he called one of his old friends, George South, and he gets George on the phone. I don't know if you've ever spoken with George, but he gets my dad gets him on the phone and he goes, oh my God, it's Ricky Steamboat calling me. Oh my God, I'll do anything. What do you need me to do? I want you to I want you to take my son down to High Spots and show him the ropes a little bit. And that shows a lot of respect to George South for my dad to give him that responsibility, you know,
Hmm.
that opportunity. And went in there and just had a ball of a time. George is an awesome guy, funny as heck, and just really enjoyed myself and felt very natural and very just felt comfortable. Uh, and it was something to where it went from zero to hero really quick. It went from just this idea, just shooting it by dad on the workbench at the Y, to okay, you're going to be training now with George 7 days a week. You're going to do 2 shows a day. My first show ever was in the rain behind a church outside, and I'm getting booed by children. And as supposedly baby face, right? It was just such a memorable and wonderful experience to be able to share that with George and to go that route. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. There's two ways that I could have gone about my career, and the first way, uh, I could have just my dad could have landed me a contract
Hmm.
and got me a contract for WWE, and I could have gone down to FCW and I could have started training there. And I thought about that, and I didn't want any part of that.
Hmm.
And for many reasons, just kind of the way that I was raised, the work ethic that I personally have. Like that's no one's going to respect me. No one is going to, or it will take more time for people to respect me. I'll have to break through that barrier with a lot of people. And honestly, I wanted, I'm infatuated with the 70s, 80s wrestlers and that era. I just absolutely in the early 90s, I just love that period. And that's how all those. So I decided I wanted to do it the old school way.
Hmm.
So I started training. I started training. I spent 6 months in Charlotte with George South, and we did 7 shows a day, or 7 shows a week. And we worked whether it rained, sunny, shined, indoor, outdoor, didn't matter. He says, we're going and we're wrestling. So we did that for 6 months, which was an awesome experience, and just at the ground level and going. Um, Doing things that way, I really think it makes it a lot more personal and valuable to you personally when
Hmm.
you have these personal experiences. Everybody knows that, right? So, um, that from there, I got my base knowledge for professional wrestling, and then I moved out to Eldon, Missouri, and trained with the great legend himself, Harley Race. What an amazing man! The guy is like iron, steel. I don't know how to describe him. I mean, they can smoke a pack of cigarettes in an hour, and and open the next pack, and then be sitting there next to the ring, and just the knowledge that this man just off the cuff, it's just like you can't find that. We're losing that generation,
Hmm.
and and I'm so grateful to have that opportunity and to be able to go to Eldon, Missouri, and train with him. And I was there as well with Go Shiozaki when he did a stay there before he kind of made his debut back in Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. Um, so wonderful experience in all these places. The whole reason for all of this was to learn different styles.
Hmm.
Every place has a little different style, whether you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, you go down to Mexico, you go to Canada, you go to Europe, you go to Japan. Everybody's got their own style. So my philosophy and my goal behind all this was I wanted to pick up little things from each place that I could add to my repertoire. I could use, and just try and make my own style in a way. So going from Eldon, Missouri, and let me tell you, we Harley had this awesome deal in town. He got all the boys hooked up in this public housing, let me tell you, I had no money, brother. I
Hmm.
was I was literally, my TV was on a box, my bed was on the ground. I had nothing. What I could pack in my 4-door sedan car is what I took, and I had a blow up bed, and my rent was $16 a month. It, my electric bill was more than, and it's just like good memories like that, just like really cool times, and just that process, that
Hmm.
learning new people, different styles. Uh, I love police officers, but I got to wrestle a cop one time and I punched him, gave him a black eye. And I respect all my police officers, but it's only because he it was a rain check. He hit me first, so that's the reason he got that one. It was his receipt. But and it's like, and then from there, I was fortunate enough to go to Pro Wrestling Noah in Tokyo, um, and
How was
that
that
was
experience?
that was an amazing, that's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and it was probably the best thing for me. And I've done a lot. I feel like I've done a lot of hard things in my life, and worked really hard. Uh, when the first thing they ask you when you get off the plane is if you brought a mouth guard, uh, that kind of set the tone for the adventure that I was partaking on. I know Ted DiBiase had just recently returned to the States for Wrestling Noah Dojo. Uh, and I actually, we lived in a subdivision of Tokyo called Differ. And there was an arena there, and below the arena was our dojo where we slept. And I actually got Teddy's bunk, and he left one of his books there and some other stuff I'm not going to talk about, but yeah, so he left his book there, and I just felt like, I felt at home already when I saw that,
Hmm.
because second generation as well, and he also understands what I'm, understands where I come from, and they're a very Christian family and that kind of stuff. So it was nice to see that, but the what an amazing experience. I was a young boy. I was a gaijin, right? So I had
Hmm.
responsibilities in the dojo. Had to go to the grocery store. Had to cook chanko. Had to, while we were cooking chanko, all the other young boys that are higher up on the than me, they're all sitting around eating, right? Wait till they're done. Then we sit down and eat. And then we clean up. And then we go train, right? And everything starts, the whole day starts with going upstairs, going to the wrestling ring and the weight room, and all the young boys wiping down weight, wiping down the ring, all the surfaces. Everything is freshly cleaned every morning. And and then, then we'll go downstairs and we'll do our chanko and then come up and train. It's kind of like a all day affair, back and forth, and not much downtime at all. Yeah, I mean, I remember being asked to do 500 squats without stopping. Uh, you know, Free squats, that is, right? Just free squats, but your fingers got to touch the ground. Fingers got to touch the ground, right? So, and just learning the Japanese style, the hard nose. In Japan, nothing, in Japanese wrestling, there nothing is perfect. Everything can be improved upon.
Hmm.
They have a saying, "Bend the tree while it's young." All of these, all of these wrestlers that aspire in Japan to be, on these main event cards that enter these dojos, they're in these these young boy programs for 5 to 7 years. They go from carrying everyone's bags to cleaning, to there's some ugly things that happen sometimes.
Hmm.
And that's just the respect and the culture, and they want to bring you down to build you up, and there's a lot of respect in that, and it was an awesome time. I'll tell you a funny story. It was, and some people might, I don't know, so it's at night, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna get one more workout. I'm in the dojo. I'm gonna get another workout, and I go back upstairs. I can't sleep. I hear like this this sorry, that's my dog. This thumping noise, like this disc, or like, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So I go upstairs and I go up in the gym on the top floor where they have the ring and the weights, and there's another door that says "Do not open." And I hear that, and I know the noise is coming from out there, so I open the door, and it's the scaffolding on top of the arena, right? So it's where they hang all the lights down. And this arena holds probably 4 or 5 thousand people, um, and there's a stage, and I'm up on the rafters. I'm by myself, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to be up here, and I'm just trying to figure out where this noise is coming from. And I open the door, and there's thousands of like furry creatures up there, and anime costumes, and there's one person on the stage, and they're all in sync, and and I was just sat there, and I was like, this is so cool. It is just like little stories. Like, I think I look back and I laugh, and it's just great experiences. I got to wrestle in Tokyo Dome, which was an amazing experience. My dad had some amazing matches there. Um, I don't know if I've never heard anybody mention this, but I'd like to mention it for sure. In Tokyo Dome, all the dressing rooms are downstairs, right? And it kind of feels like you're going down 2 stories, not really one story, because
Hmm.
you're under the stage and underneath the Coliseum. And there's just a concrete cinder block walls going up these stairs. And these stairs, lead from the dressing room up to the stage or the backstage to get onto the stage. And everyone that has ever performed there has signed this wall. Now, I'm not talking just wrestlers or boxers. You're talking the Beatles. You're talking every musician, every kind of actor, magic magician, everybody, right? And there's just thousands of signatures on this wall. And as I'm walking up, I'm really I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it, because it was just it's not something that everybody's going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wish I wish I had a picture, but I was about to walk out in the ring, so did not have. And walking up, I'm reading the signatures, right? And some guys are signing over guys. Some people are leaving each other a little space. Everybody's being pretty respectful. They're trying to, give their own room. And then as you walk up and you reach the first platform, there's one signature. And there's probably 6-7 inches around it that nobody has touched. And it was Muhammad Ali. And I just sat there, as a 20-year-old kid, and and just the respect, it just had a big impact on me personally,
Mm-hmm.
because of the gravity that all of these legends showed to him. It was a really cool thing. So that was and they got the best Korean barbecue in Tokyo too. I had some good dinners.
So when you got back from Japan, what was your sights set on them?
I needed. I was like, Dad. I was like, dude, I need give me a couple weeks. I need to sleep. Right? I'm trying. I need to get. I had gained a bunch of weight in Japan, and I was feeling good. I think I was probably about 230. And I was pretty lean because of all the workouts and squats and. um, so once I got back, I did a few shows here in Charlotte. Charlotte used to have a big convention every year, and I think it might have been the year that Reed debuted. And so did a few matches here and got hooked up with Carlos Colon down in Puerto Rico. And asked Carlos if I could come down there and graciously try and learn a little bit of his style or his family style, So I was accepted, and I came down there and I stayed down there for about 8 weeks, and I got to have some amazing matches, got to go to some beautiful beaches, got to see the rainforest, all those fun things. Damian Sandow was my room. Well, he wasn't my roommate. He was in the room next door. And he got tired of me being there after my girlfriend came down. So. But anyway, Puerto Rico was awesome. We had a good time, and I learned a lot. I actually was able, and this is the only time I think I can remember this happening. I got to tag with my dad. I don't know if you've ever seen the footage of that. I don't know if it's on the internet. Orlando Colon and a partner of his and me and my dad. Of course, I'm not blowing no comeback. You're taking the heat. Okay. All right, this is what we're doing. Okay, sure, whatever you say. I was just marking out hard. I was so excited to have that opportunity to wrestle with him and hit him with the hot tag. It's very special, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. So from there, did the Puerto Rico. See if I missed anything. Came back. Did some more shows, and at that point, I felt like I was pretty seasoned. I had kind of learned what I needed to. Now the things I needed to learn, I needed to go somewhere else to get those things. That camera action, direct storytelling, the way we've directionally faced ourselves and different things. Just fine tuning stuff, right? So at that time, into 2009, I moved down to Tampa, and Steve Kern, what an awesome dude. I mean, FCW at that time was like a huge family.
Hmm.
It was a really cool place to be. A lot of good vibes, a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, the when I got there, the guys that were kind of like the mainstay, like Johnny Curtis, Heath Slater, um, Joe Henning, Justin Gabriel, that crew was kind of like the OG crew when I got in there, and they all were really cool with me, helped me a lot, showing me the ropes and that kind of stuff. I learned quickly that the whole building is mic'd, but that's okay. And I said it twice, so it don't matter.
So, what was your first initial thoughts of the WWE developmental system? Because this was before the PC. This was a warehouse in Dale Mabry, on Dale Mabry.
Yeah, it was a warehouse. It was definitely not run like just an independent.
Hmm.
It was very professionally run. Everything was done top notch. Uh, we had a gentleman named Alfred that was one of our promoters that did a lot of promoting with Steve. Uh, I mean, it was a great setup. I mean, definitely the best promotion that I've been with. I know they have ties with WWE at the time, but Steve was really, I believe, running. I don't know this to be certain, but I believe he was running the ship down there, and he's doing a darn good job doing it. I think there was a lot of good skilled talent down there, a lot of guys with creative ideas and different body structures, and so
Hmm.
I mean, everything was cool. Yeah, it was nice.
Did you feel like going to this place that you might have had a target on your back just because of who your dad was, or they were going to test you to see if this is what you really wanted, like the other talent within the system at the time?
Uh, I di- I didn't. I was naive to that, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I really uh had been working with some people with some integrity in the past,
Hmm.
and I just I didn't expect that level of backstabbingness that goes on down it. Well, and just in the sport in general,
Hmm.
just in my opinion. And what do you do? I mean, honestly, I think I just came in there and I was just too nice of a guy. I was just too nice, and I kept to myself. My dad taught me to keep my mouth shut and just listen and do what you're told. And I think maybe some people took that as me being like I was above them or something, or
Hmm.
I don't know how people took that. I don't really care, but it's just kind of like that's just I'm here to do a job, right? I don't care who wins or loses. My job is make sure to get the match over. If the
Hmm.
match gets, I'm cool. Um, but there was a lot of guys that were very not interested in that kind of mentality. They were just more interested in thinking uh, that it's going to get them somewhere by doing, and it really just kind of makes them look bad, because if the match sucks, that means you suck too. So it, it's just kind of, I think it's just part of, unfortunately, it's just a part of the game. It is what it is, and I think that all the guys down there were really good to me. I didn't really have any issues with. I had a few run-ins with Damien Sandow later on. Uh, just some things, on some house shows on the road and stuff. And just trying to, you know, you work so hard, and a lot of people don't, like you said, that target on your back, right?
Hmm.
So whether I did A or B decision as far as which route I go, I'm going to be there's going to be that target. It's going to be there. I've kind of have these horse blinders on, and I try to ignore it, not let it affect you. You know, you just if you read every article on the internet, you're gonna go crazy. So uh, that was something else. I was raised. I was very, just water off my back. You know, if that's the way you want to be. Next time I'm in the ring with you, I know it,
Hmm.
right? And that's kind of the attitude that I took going forward. I mean, I had a lot of great matches with Seth and with Chris Hero and with tons and tons of guys, and really enjoyed those uh, those matches. With Wyndham, had some great matches with Wyndham, and you know, it just it's tough because it's a double-edged sword. You know, you're trying to get to a place, right? You're trying
Hmm.
to build your career up. You also may have a family at home. You've got kids, this and that. You know, it's a very unique field. You know, you got to be willing to put that time and that effort into it.
Hmm.
Um, and I was, unfortunately, God has different plans, and I had a injury. You want to talk about the injury?
We can, yeah.
Yeah. So I had done a moonsault onto a guy at a house show uh, about 6 months prior to the Cassius Ono NXT. I think it was semifinals. The original NXT at Full Sail. Um, and I did a moonsault onto a guy, uh, and that was the finish. And I immediately rolled out, and I lost feeling in my whole body as soon as I hit the mat. I could move everything, I just couldn't feel anything.
Hmm.
And uh, I immediately knew something was wrong, and went to the back. And I'm like, dude, I went straight to the doc, and I was like, man, I can't feel nothing. I can't feel anything. And and so they did some X-rays and MRIs, and I herniated 3 discs in my back. Um, and they're like, doctor's like, I don't know why you're not paralyzed. He says, you just severely bruised your spinal cord. He's like, any more, and you'd probably be in a wheelchair. Um, and I kept wrestling, and, you spend so much time and you build
Hmm.
up kind of like AAA ball, right? You build up your reputation and you start moving up the card and you're doing mains every night or semi mains and you know, um, they put a lot into you. They're advertising for you. They're doing all this stuff. You earn that position. You don't. It's hard to give that position up, And I didn't. So for about 6 months, I wrestled on the injury and really tried to push through it. But it just got to the point to where I couldn't pick up my little baby boy who was one,
Hmm.
and I can't pick him up. How am I going to pick up you know anybody, any 300-pound guy, right? So that was a really tough decision for me that I had to make. But I think in hindsight, it was probably one of the best decisions that I've made. Um, I've got the best of both worlds. You know, I
Hmm.
got to experience the wonderful wrestling career. I got to meet and got to travel the world. I got to do all those awesome things, and I've still got my family.
Hmm.
I got 4 beautiful kids. I live on a farm. I've got horses and donkeys and goats. And it's just a funny farm. It's for my kids. Like we
Hmm.
don't make a farm. Like this is they call it's like car. Each one of these horses is a car payment. It ain't no joke. But my wife and my kids are really into it, and family is so important to me. And that's just something that um that is number one to me. And make sure that I do what I need to be doing here at home, being a good dad, being a good husband.
Hmm.
Those are important things.
Absolutely. Before your injury, did they have any plans? Was there any talks of what they wanted to do with you? Like, for a main roster, or did things just not get to that point?
I was slated to go to the finals for the NXT title.
Hmm.
I think it was going to be Seth and I in the finals. So, and I don't know where that was going to go. I don't know, because that match never happened.
Hmm.
But that was the direction. So I definitely, and I had just gotten my contact for road travel. So I had done one house show. Um, I assumed and was preparing for it to continue to go up.
Other second generation and third generation people I've talked to, when they get signed, did they want you to be your dad? Did they not want you to be? Did they flip it back and forth when you finally, like, they would give you a direction to go, you get comfortable, you get it down. They're like, no, Richie, let's try this. Let's do this. A lot of people I've talked to that have went through FCW, that was pretty much like a roller coaster for them.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I think was kind of a drawback for me.
Hmm.
Uh, there wasn't any of that. Uh, there that you're Richie Steamboat, and that's who they wanted me to be. There's I wasn't really given any other options. Uh, Nor did creative help me at all or
Hmm.
want to. I feel, but that's what I'm. It is what it is. I think that there was definitely uh, just things in place to make it very difficult for me, and I think that just listen, that's nothing new to me. I'm used to that.
Hmm.
So not surprising.
Was there any coaches you liked working with more than others during your time there?
Um, Loved working with Norman Smiley. Awesome dude, really funny, very technical wrestler. Loved being around Steve. Um, my dad and Dusty have a little history, and that was unfortunately that got rubbed off onto me a little bit.
Hmm.
Uh, and and all the respect to Dusty in the world, and an incredible athlete and wrestler and creative mind and just an amazing man he was. Um, but I think that's and uh, I liked working with my dad down there. But I also felt like it was at some points he was it was difficult for me to be my own man down
Hmm.
there because you have Ricky coming down and doing seminars and doing different things, and then he's my producer for my matches and blah blah blah, and it's like he wants this, and well I don't really want to do that. It's like like so my whole my whole moonsault injury thing, my that I was just told to do that.
Hmm.
And by the third time of telling them that I didn't want to do it, that was just the answer. This is the move. So that I gave him the move. Um, so there's a little heat there I have personally, and I'm not naming any names, but there's I don't live with any regrets or any bad decisions. I was very grateful for all
Hmm.
of my everything that I got in there. But so yeah, it changed over the years. When FCW got rebranded to this NXT and we started doing that transition period, all of that was done in Tampa, and we were still running out of FCW, but we were taping at Full Sail.
Hmm.
So we're doing shows or all of our tapings at Full Sail. And it was very cool and exciting and nice to get. We got a lot of the company-wide WWE company executives in. We were having positive meetings all the time. Had John Laurinaitis down there with us, uh, and we'd have lots of stuff going on. So it was really exciting for us. We started. I think there was like I believe there was 10 guys. There might have been 8 that they had picked that were going to be in the first NXT debut like title run, right?
Hmm.
Experience of them setting up and doing all the filming for that and doing that kind of stuff. Um, and then it just kept progressing and, it just kept getting larger and larger. We got a great crowd at Full Sail and they started catching momentum and, it was had a good idea and I know Hunter was in charge of that and that was his baby and he did an excellent job with that. So, um, it was the right idea for sure. I think it definitely, Steve did an excellent job, but to be able to bring it to that next level, we needed WWE to step
Hmm.
in to provide that the extra infrastructure.
When your after your injury occurred, did you know how long say this the right way? Did how long after your release? How long before after your injury did your release actually happen? Because there's like conflicting reports. Is that once you made your mind up? Is that when you and WWE parted ways? Like that you couldn't do this anymore.
Yes, yeah, that's when our relationship ended. Yes, sir.
So what was next for you after this?
I had serious back problems going on and had to deal with that. So getting that squared away took about a year and a half. I had 7 facet joint nerve blocks in my back just to kind of. So I had a couple options to get fusions and stuff, but it was going to leave me with a hump on my back, or I would never stand up straight again. And I really didn't want either one of those options. So I decided to just kind of hopefully in the future they'll have some better medicine and
Hmm.
just a routine of stretching and working out, eating the right foods. I do some acupuncture, do different things that my body responds to, um, and I've been able to manage it pretty well. Here, living on a farm, I shovel a lot of shit, but it's kept me in shape. Get my shoulders nice and big, and so it's fine. It's doing all right.
How was that navigating through all that? Because you were young to be dealing with all of that, and then your release happens, and you've got these injuries. How hard was that time period for you?
Yeah, it was tough because it was the first time in my life where I didn't really have a direction that I wanted. That I had
Hmm.
put all my eggs into this basket, and that's kind of the way I am. I always put all my effort into everything. So and so it was a time to find myself again and to find the important things to me and what really mattered to me. And I didn't have to look very far. It was the family in the room with me, and I'm just so grateful for them. And they had to put up with a bunch of BS, me traveling all the time and injuries. And I mean, my wife's her first time she ever went to a show. They followed up with a hospital visit. They the some can I speak freely on here?
Yeah,
We
you're good. Yeah.
dumbass put when they did the turnbuckle, they set up the ring. They put the hooks in the corners facing up. Well, I take the post and my left arm goes right into the hook. I fall out of the ring. I don't even know that my arm's, connected to the hook. And I fall out of the ring and I'm just hanging by the hook. So the first time she ever saw me wrestle, she's like, wow, all right, so this is what I'm getting into. I'm like, it's not a big deal. We're fine. We're getting home. We went out drinking after, I think. It wasn't anything, but I also was trying to be a tough guy, right?
Hmm.
Show my lady. So, and so and the transition and the family and um, I've always been really good with my hands. I've always been kind of a woods craftsman, a carpenter in a way. I had since we live here at this farm, I have a wood shop. I build tables and all sorts of fun stuff. My wife is a divorce lawyer, and she has 7 offices around Charlotte and South Carolina and Raleigh, and build most of the tables for her. I was gravitating to things that I enjoyed, right?
Hmm.
And I think that when we're in a place and we're searching, we should go to things that we enjoy, because that's what's going to find happiness, and you're going to be able to navigate your way through it. So it was my therapy in a way, right? So doing that, I've also for several years been working on a book that I've been writing, uh, growing up wrestling. I think it's an autobiography, and it's going to be coming out in a few months. That's something that I've kind of like stopped and started a few times, and I think like I've got like 7 different projects going on, and sometimes it's a little easier. You get kind of burnt out a little bit, right? And it's good to
Hmm.
take a breath and to come back to it, and it makes it even better. So um, got that going on, and I've also designed, patented, utility and design patent for a amateur wrestling shoe. So in the next few months, we're gonna have more talk about that. I can't talk too much about that right now, but we're gonna be releasing that in the next few months, and that's gonna be really, really, really cool. It's gonna have the Steamboat name on it, and it's quite unique. So it's gonna be interesting. So I'm just and that's going back to like from retiring from WWE and these transition moments and going through these different phases.
Hmm.
These are for me, they're just very natural. You just have to take the bumps in the road, and you keep getting up and keep pushing through, and that hard work pays off.
Hmm.
So it was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed it. Lot of lot of fun times. Lot of stories I wish I could tell, but I really can't. But it's just like, and these are some of the stuff will be in my autobiography. But I just got to clear some things with people before I. It's a respect thing. We got to make sure we respect.
That's always the best route to go. So life after WWE has been great for you.
It has, yeah. It really has. I There's a saying they say the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and I challenge that. Uh, I think that's a scare tactic, and I think that's just bullshit in your head. So if that's the way you live your life, then you take no risks in life. Then good luck, have fun. But so it's like I'm very very blessed. I have 4 beautiful kids. My oldest is Richard. He's 13. William is 7. I have a little girl, Ava, who's 4, and my fourth and final child is George. He was born on my birthday, which was really cool. Um, so got 3 boys, 1 girl. Everybody's doing amazing. And my wife chased me around wrestling and stuck with me through the good, the bad, the ugly, and now I'm also being able to spend a lot of time with my kids, enjoy my family, help my wife in any way that she needs. I've got my own personal projects, but those kind of come second to my family. And all good things. About to I don't know when we're gonna air this, but we're getting ready to go into the holiday season.
Hmm.
So just excited about giving back.
If you had any advice to give to anybody getting into professional wrestling, what would it be?
Be unique. Don't try and be anybody else besides yourself. Don't try and imitate anybody. Make your own style. Make your own persona. Be uh, doesn't matter whether you're fat, short, skinny, tall, doesn't, whether you speak English, you don't, doesn't matter. Find something that you can connect with and that can help you stand out. That's what they're looking for. They want guys that can stand out. You could be a soaking wet 150 pounds, but if you can spit on the mic, you got a job.
Hmm.
And vice versa. If you're 310 pounds and you look like a million, like Mason Ryan, you're going to get a job, right? You might walk correctly, but at least you're going to have a job.
Where can people reach out to you at and follow you with all this stuff you got going on now?
Richie.steamboat on Instagram, and then on my Facebook, Richie Steamboat.
Well, Richie, I just want to say thank you for coming on today, talking a little bit about your career and what you're up to next. You're positive through all of this, and not a lot of people would have taken that path. A lot of that time period in their life probably would have defined them, and they would have been a different person. But your attitude, the way you see stuff, the way you put your family first, it's all really good to see. And I wish more people would have the same outlook that you have. So thank you for what you've done for professional wrestling and what you're continuing to do.
I appreciate you having me on, and that is another message too that I'd like to give to everybody is to keep your family close. You
Hmm.
know, you know, no one no one has ever on their deathbed said that they wish they could have worked a little harder. They wish they had a little more time with their family. They wish they
Hmm.
would have. They would have. So just think about those things in a positive way. Take this as an opportunity to maybe fix a relationship or to mend a bond that might have been broken. And yeah, stick to your roots. Believe in what you believe in. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it because you can.
Hmm. If there's ever anything that I can do, please feel free to reach out.
Very good. Awesome. Nice speaking with you.